I'm John Leech. I'm the Liberal Democrat Member of Parliament for Manchester Withington.
So what does poverty mean to you?
Well, I think the first thing to say is that poverty is not just about economic wealth, it's also about well-being and whether or not someone has a good family life and whether or not they can survive within their local community. I think we've got to, in terms of poverty, we've got to make sure that everyone is brought out of poverty, but that's not just about making sure that someone has a decent wage, it's about making sure that people have food to eat, good family health and well-being, not just making sure that they've got a living wage that they can survive on, whether it be here or anywhere else in the world.
And what do you think about these challenges that people have been doing across the north of England?
I think it's a really good way of getting across the sort of conditions that some people live in different parts of the world, and I think it really sort of brings home the difficulties that some people face within their lives. So it's a really good way, I think, of getting a message across, and certainly I would like more people to be telling MPs about exactly what they're doing, so that MPs can then do a bit more as well.
And what are MPs, and what are you doing about climate change and trying to get the urgency of it across?
Well, I spent a couple of weeks in Bangladesh at the end of August, beginning of September, working with women workers who were affected by climate change, working within the shrimp processing industry. And I did a lot of work and met a lot of people talking about the impact of climate change in Bangladesh. So I think it's important for MPs to be getting out and talking to people, seeing exactly what climate change is what impact climate change is having on people's livelihoods, and actually making sure that we persuade other politicians that perhaps aren't quite yet on board with doing something a bit more radical as far as dealing with climate change, making sure that we get our message across and persuading people of the need to do something now rather than wait for a complete disaster in the future. Tomorrow I'm meeting with Ali Abbas from Friends of the Earth with the Climate Connection, and we're going to be talking about climate change, and I'm expecting to be lobbied very strongly by a number of people around the constituency about things that I need to do and things that the government needs to do in order to really combat climate change and the impact of climate change.